Closing bell for Wednesday, June 21st. I am your solo host for this afternoon, Riley Magnuson, going to be blasting right through this evening slate of baseball because as I look at it, there's only 7 games left on the docket. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Jeff Dawson and Julian Edlow went out early this morning, unless I'm talking about yesterday's schedule. So let me double check that I'm sorry, Andrew McGinnis and Jeff Dawson got out earlier this afternoon. I am putting my foot in my mouth there, but nonetheless, in about an hour and a half or so, Jeff Dawson will be back with Brady Cannon talking Travelers Championship this weekend on the PGA Tour, so definitely do not want to miss that if you were looking for some looks on the PGA. I am taking the weekend off, at least for now, for any pre-flop off of any golf action tonight. So if you want anything, go ahead and check out that show at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock my time, Central Time. Aside from that, like I said, going to be breezing really quickly through, we'll try and take our time through this MLB slate, but there's only 7 games, so going to be a very quick one. Also got a little bit of NBA news that we can peruse through for just a second as it comes out, leaks out this afternoon, whatever you want to call it. As far as that trade is concerned, Evening Connor, thank you again for stopping by. But to touch on what I'm talking about with the NBA, if you haven't been paying attention this last couple of hours, Celtics, Wizards, and Clippers are closing in on a trade that would send Kristaps Porzingis to Boston, Malcolm Brogdon to LA, and Marcus Morris in draft compensation to Washington. So Jeff and I believe even some other shows that Jeff was on, talking nicely about Malcolm Brogdon. As long as he stays healthy, I agree with it. But I am a fan of his as well. But obviously deciding that shaking things up, getting him out to LA, and maybe a new spot for him will work out. And also trying to shake things up and bring in Kristaps Porzingis, obviously. I think that probably bodes not so well for what we were talking about with Robert Williams potentially. Obviously, Porzingis, an offensive-minded or big man, whatever you want to call it. But basketball is positionless these days. But that's obviously a big shakeup, and I'm curious what that draft compensation is going to be elsewhere in this trade. But obviously the Wizards trying to unload and rebuild, go through the full rebuild mode as opposed to being in kind of that 35 to, even at best 45-game win window, which I don't know that they've been at. But nonetheless, I think you understand what I'm saying. So trying to tear things down, restart for the Wizards, which could be a long process if they're going for a full rebuild there. And obviously Malcolm Brogdon to L.A., which the Clippers, obviously, not a bad move at all if he can stay healthy. Like I said, I'm a fan of his. I think he could bring a lot to the table for them. And then Jeff and I were talking yesterday as far as the Celtics need a little shakeup. So this obviously is potentially the first stage of whatever their potential shakeups could be there with their star power that they've got. But obviously getting aggressive and bringing in a Kristaps Porzingis player that obviously hasn't had a ton of postseason success, has had a couple of different teams now, 3 teams I think before this, New York, Dallas, and now Washington, obviously. But obviously hasn't had a ton of success after the regular season. So we will see how that works out as far as being a Boston Celtic there. So interesting trade, interesting buzz around that trade, obviously. And unless I'm drawing a blank, I think that's about it there. Nuggets and Pacers involved in a smaller, lesser of a deal trade. Moving some draft picks around there a little bit there. So the defending champs are getting aggressive with their draft pick compensation, obviously, with what they do have, at least making trades aggressive, I mean. So without further ado, let's jump on over. Let's jump on over to the MLB slate tonight. As I mentioned, 7 games up. There are already 5 in the tank. Rays 7-2 over the Orioles today. Blue Jays 6-3 over the Marlins. Reds 5-3 over the Rockies. Cubs 8-3 over the Pirates, and Tigers 9-4 over the Royals. 3 games in action right now. Astros 9-6 in the top of the 6 over the Mets. Diamondbacks 4-1 through 8 innings over Milwaukee. And Cards and Nationals still scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd there. Got to go back to Tuesday a little bit to recap. We're a little all over the place. We some of our stinkier lines ended up not really coming to what we were alluding to. I think I don't want to speak for Jeff, but I imagine we would stand by everything we said yesterday, despite the losses. The stinky ones we were talking about. Garrett Cole ends up being great. 3-1 Yankees win. We were wrong about that one. Dodgers 2-0 over the Angels. Kershaw obviously great as well. So some of these stinky lines with some of these big name pitchers did not come to the spot that we thought they were going to. And then there's one more that I'm kind of drawing a blank on here. So I do apologize. Oh, Spencer Strider, another Braves over the Phillies was the other one that also worked out in the Braves' favor. I think the fourth one that we threw in there was Astros and Mets with Verlander on the mound, if I'm not mistaken there. So that one is a little different for us there. But we move on to today. Cut our losses there and shake things up a little bit and see what we've got going on tonight. I believe or I should say, Jeff, I was not sure what to make of it. White Sox get the win. Obviously, controversial call in the bottom of the 8th inning to give the White Sox the go-ahead run as opposed to moving on to the 9th inning. I can't remember if it would have stayed in the 8th inning or not. But nonetheless, very controversial call. If you saw it, it was ridiculous. If that is the rule and that was the correct interpretation of the rule, then something needs to change. As a White Sox fan, I'm thanking my lucky stars. I had some fun action on it that it ended up working out in my favor. But and the White Sox need that type of break to get them back into the AL Central forefront of the AL Central race there. Obviously lurking around, but because of the ugliness that's been the AL Central and the Twins 2 games under 500 as the first place team there, White Sox 4.5 back. They needed a little bit of a break, but not really deserving. It was an ugly call. I was shocked that they overturned it. Obviously, Bruce Bochy not happy either. So we'll take it though. We will take it, and we won't complain too much about it. So that's all I got with that. But again, if that's the correct interpretation of the rule, then that needs to be changed. Otherwise, whoever made that call needs some type of check, because that was an absurd change in the bottom of the 8th inning of a tied game there. So, again, we will take it. We'll move on to tonight. We'll get to the White Sox in a second. First game up, I do believe, 5:40 my time, 6:40 East Coast time. Braves and Phillies. Phillies actually favored in this game over the Braves. A.J. Smith-Shawver on the mound for the Braves. He is a 20-year-old rookie making his 4th appearance here for the Braves. Hasn't been too bad to this point. 2 1/3, no hits, no runs. First time out. Honestly, don't know if that was a start or not. A couple weeks ago, Friday, June 6th, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 unearned runs, and then 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 bombs last time I get at home against Colorado. So the hits continue to climb a little bit as we get going on here with Smith-Shawver. So something to look at for tonight in that case. Aaron Nola on the other side of things has not been as good this season as you, if you've been paying attention, have been aware of. 6 earned runs, 4 earned runs each the last 2 times out. Going through deep into these games, so not he's getting along the leash, still going 100 pitches or so, but his hit totals haven't been too crazy. His walks have been a little sporadic, but he just hasn't been the guy that they've had in that rotation at least last year. A lot more steady last year, obviously, and so you would imagine that there's going to be some progression back to the mean there. Obviously, has seen this Braves lineup plenty of times here. Some success in a couple of spots. Acuna, Austin Riley have some good numbers against him. Aside from that, he's handled this lineup pretty well for the most part. Just looking at career numbers for these guys at the very least. So as far as this game is concerned, Phillies minus 130 on DraftKings, I see right now, fairly consensus. Right around that 127 is the best number I think you can. Or I'm sorry, that's wrong thing that I'm looking at. That. All right, yeah, 127 best thing you can get. All the way over to 145 or something like that. So obviously, you want to do your line shop if you're looking at the Phillies. Braves obviously on a heater of a win streak right now. Phillies just ended theirs yesterday. Obviously here against at home against Atlanta. So I'm a little torn on this one. I would expect some regression from Smith-Shawver. You would expect at some point some bounce back potential from Aaron Nola there, whether that's tonight or going forward. You could absolutely be convinced that tonight is the night for that. As far as the Braves are concerned, being an underdog with an Aaron Nola pitcher who hasn't been fantastic, that is concerning to me a little bit. And Smith-Shawver, in his case, 2.02 ERA through 3 appearances. So on paper, he's been fine, and you can look at that quite a bit. So I might be more interested in the team total for the Phillies, just on the basis that maybe Aaron Nola isn't quite in form yet and bouncing back tonight. So I'd be worried about that a little bit. I would be, if I had to do anything, I'd be going to the Phillies. But I'd be more interested in the team total for them tonight. over 4.5 if you can get plus money, just because I do think Smith-Shawver is due for some aggression, and I think this Phillies team after the loss there could be the team that gets done against him there. There is a part of me that doesn't want to go against the train that is the Braves and their 7-game win streak, and that's another reason why I'm not betting against them here tonight, but I will lean towards the Phillies and some Phillies offensive output tonight, scoring at least 5 runs there for him there. Game total, I think, was the only thing I failed to mention, is 8.5, juiced over. So it is a goofy one here a little bit, but I'll, like I said, I'll lean towards the Phillies putting up a few runs here tonight. Mariners and Yankees, next one up. Luis Castillo on the mound versus Yoni Brito for the Yankees. Brito is a rookie, if you were unaware, 25-year-old. Has been pitching, this is actually his first outing since May the 20th. He had been rolling along consistently in this lineup up until that point. Now he's back in it. So I'm not really interested in trying to figure out what's going to go on with him tonight. As far as Castillo is concerned, 2 earned runs last time out, 5 2/3, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run, 6 walks, 6 Ks. That 6 walk number, I think, is an outlier. We've seen a few pitchers that are of his caliber have that type of number and then really hone it back in that next time around and figure it out. So the 2 hits last time are really promising. They did take the, I don't know if he was recorded with the loss, but the Mariners took the loss in that last start. The 2 hits after a not-so-great outing before that is promising to me, however, and I don't think those walks are going to be an issue again here tonight. It is an inflated number if you're trying to get into this one, though. Mariners minus 160. I shouldn't say it's inflated. It's just a little further away than what you'd like for a Yankees team at home here against the Seattle team. The number has come down, so I shouldn't say it is inflated. If you're looking to get into the Mariners, this actually might be the time to get them on the run line. I'm not a huge fan of taking run lines, but I can absolutely see the Mariners and Castillo being great tonight. The first 5 is pretty tough to get into. You're not getting plus money on the first half run line there. But this Mariners team has been a little inconsistent, and offensively, I just don't know what you're going to get from them. So I do think Castillo is going to be really good. I'd be more interested. I'm not. I really don't really often do this, but I would pretty much just be willing to jump into some type of Luis Castillo action tonight. Maybe you like his K prop number. I'm trying to find it here. Some places don't give you much to work with there. You might have to go over 7.5 to get some plus money, so that'll be tough to get to. Over 6.5 minus 150 is some place that is offering it to you. So it is going to be tough to get into that one, but I do think Castillo would be really, really good tonight. Just don't know what to see from Mariners offense up against Yankees pitching staff tonight. Oakland and Cleveland is the next one up here. Blackburn versus Williams. Don't know too much about Williams here. Let me pull him up. I believe this is his, if not his season debut, it is his major league debut, I believe. Yes, this is MLB debut for Gavin Williams, 23-year-old. So I'm not a fan that person that typically likes to be getting into those types of games. Blackburn for the A's. Jeff actually mentioned yesterday, A's pitching staff has been a little better. Blackburn, this will be start number 5 on the season for him. Blackburn has shown some life in this rotation in past years, and so far has been pretty good. 3.48 ERA over these 4 starts. Had 1 bad outing where he gave up 5 earned runs. Last 2 have been pretty solid. 7 hits last time out, though, so it would not shock me at all if this is another bad one on the horizon for him. Again, don't know what to make out of Williams in this one. I'm not trying to cannonball into the deep end with an A's team that's back on a losing streak. Their offense has been putrid. Cleveland gets 3-2 win yesterday with steeper odds in this one. So I think they're giving some respect to Blackburn a little bit here and a little bit of question mark on the Gavin Williams MLB debut here. So I'm not cannonballing into any Cleveland action. I'm hesitant on a little Oakland action. I'm hesitant on some Blackburn regression, honestly, but that doesn't mean I'm jumping all the way into Cleveland on this one over 4.5. I'm just staying far away from a lot of these Oakland A's games, if I'm being totally honest with you, for the most part. So, 4 games left here. One more, and then I'll get into my White Sox. Red Sox at the Minnesota Twins. I believe the Red Sox have taken the first 2 out of this series. They are on an 8-game win streak now. Let me double check that. 6-game win streak, apologies. And they've got, Whitlock on the mound versus Sonny Gray. These 2 guys have, Whitlock obviously still getting going for the most part here. He has had 4 starts since coming off of the IL and has been fairly good in 3 out of 4 of those. One a little iffy. Last 2 earned runs, 1 earned run against Colorado and the Yankees on the road here. You've got Sonny Gray on the other side, who has regressed a little bit, but now he's coming back to a really nice spot. 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs last time out. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run the time before that. So the hits have been he's gotten the hits back down. Walks have been a little up here these last few starts, as opposed to early in the season when he was pitching really, really well. So that whip number of his 1.28 doesn't quite reflect those ERA numbers. So he is getting himself out of a lot of jams. Not sure quite what you're going to expect out of him tonight. I think a lot of people are looking for a Minnesota bounce back tonight. But Garrett Whitlock could be really good again tonight. So I'm torn on this one. I think the number is pretty fair. And it wouldn't surprise me. I think if I'm doing anything, I might be interested. I'm not trying to get in front of this train. Boston scored 10 and 9 runs. So if Boston had put together 4 runs each of the last 2 days, then I'd probably be in on their team total today. But it might be time for some offensive regression for the Boston Red Sox there. So I am going to stay away from it on the basis that I think you've got a Red Sox offense that's probably due for a little regression today and a Sonny Gray pitcher that could be due for some regression. So I'll actually lean towards the Twins on this one, looking at Boston's offense coming down to earth a little bit. But obviously they've been great, so they could absolutely keep rolling on. This Twins offense has not been exciting. 4 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs, 2, 1, or these last 5 games. So they could be due for a nice day as well. So I'm going to stay away from it. I'll lean towards Sonny Gray calming down this Boston offense, though, tonight. My White Sox at home against the Texas Rangers tonight. Martin Perez and Michael Kopech on the mound for the White Sox. This game tonight, gotta find it here. Michael Kopech has been a lot better these last few weeks. This 3 starts here in June, 16 and a third inning, only 3 earned runs allowed. Close to a hit per game, or excuse me, a hit per inning there. Last time out, 6 walks. So that is, he is a guy that can have some control issues at times. It's kind of a question mark in a lot of cases with Michael Kopech, but at the end of the day, he has been a lot better. He has kind of kept a better mental headspace, which is, with all due respect, has been an issue for him as far as a guy that can get unraveled a little bit if trouble comes his way. So the fact that he's been able to manage some stress in these starts and getting out of jams has been impressive. Martin Perez, on the other hand, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks last time, was a big bounce back after a 10-hit, 7 earned run outing in Tampa the time before that. So he might be in a spot where he could have a hot streak on his hand. He's been nowhere near as good as he was last year. In my opinion, I don't think this is a case where Martin Perez should be looked at as a guy that's going to be a sub-3 ERA guy for a 4 or 5 year stretch. I think you can look at that and say, wow, that was a great career year. Probably time for him to regress back to the mean a little bit. I do think there's probably some better days and hotter streaks ahead of him in this season as far as is concerned, but I don't think he's going to get back to a point that he was pitching at last year. This last start that he had, 2 out of the last 3 sandwiched in between is the ugly one, has been really solid. But he's having a lot more of these ugly starts. So White Sox obviously have had some interesting spots. They've been hit, as Jeff and I talked about yesterday, they've been hitting the ball well out of the park. And really in a small sample size, you've got Luis Robert 3 for 5 against Perez lifetime, Jimenez 2 for 3, Grandal 3 for 4, Berger 2 for 3. So guys that have had some good success even in small sample size against Perez. So as a left-hander, that's a guy that I think is a White Sox opposing pitcher that they could hit up easily there. I think a lot of people are expecting Texas to bounce back after last night's debacle that went on there, and honestly still look at them as a very good team, and they are. But this White Sox team, as ugly and at times it's been, there's been some positive moments, and as I mentioned, if they can just get some base runners on, hit these home runs that they're hitting with base runners on, then there's going to be a lot more runs coming in here. But 9.5 total with, like I was saying, with Kopech pitching well and Perez in a spot where he could be in for a hot streak if he's close to what he was last year. It could be a good start for him, but we're at a total of 9.5 here, so something's got to give. I'm going to give the edge to this. I obviously got to take things with a grain of salt when I talk about the White Sox like this, but I do like them to have some runs today. I'll go over 4.5 runs again for them, and I think they can put some good numbers up on the board against Perez here against this lefty. I think the White Sox, maybe if we're talking home run props, could have a nice stretch in them again here tonight. I will go ahead and I'm trying to get some odds for us here. I will, without looking, I'm going to say Luis Robert against the lefty. He was I took a day off yesterday, had a home run the day before that, I believe. Oh, boy, he is... let's see, 390. So honestly, don't love that. Eloy at 320. I'll go with back-to-back Eloy at 320 and then even Jake Berger at 330. I think you get one of those two guys on your card. At least one of them is going to get there. So still like Luis Robert. I think that could be a great spot for him there. So I do think that is a decent spot to get some home runs. Honestly, potentially both ways. Josh Jung for Texas plus 210. Marcus Semien 350 could be decent looks as well there. So. Moving on to, I think, 2 more games left. Let's see. Dodgers and Angels tonight. You've got Ohtani on the mound, I believe, for the Angels. Michael Grove, the road. Dodgers on the mound for the Dodgers. Shohei has been a little better these last couple, but hasn't been in his best stretch that he's ever had. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned run last time out, 1 walk, only 3 Ks. But we are getting some home cooking finally here. He's had 2 of his last 3 starts were on the road. One against Seattle, who he's seen often or quite a bit at home, wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't quite what he's looking for there. So I think you're in for a. I will say I'm a little nervous about that. I know we talked about stenches yesterday, and it didn't really come through to us. But Ohtani has a minus 145 favorite with how well they've played. Obviously lost yesterday with how well they're playing right now. With Ohtani on the mound against this Dodgers team, who has been a little all over the place. Offense hasn't been very good, even win yesterday 2-0. Not very good offense. I am concerned about Ohtani in a total of 9 here with Michael Grove on the mound, who has not been good. So this is still a stinker. There is something going on here that either mind games or there's a big stench here going on. I mean, Michael Grove's got exactly 4 earned runs allowed in each of his last 3. He's got a 8.10 ERA right now, over 7 outings, I think, 30 innings, 27 earned runs allowed. So this one is goofy. There is some mind games going on, or there's just a big flat-out stench after yesterday. So if you were a person that rode the stenches that we gave out and didn't get there, maybe you're looking at the Dodgers again as a team that can hit up Ohtani. If you're laughing at us from yesterday and you think we're crazy again for saying the same thing, then go ahead and take Ohtani at minus 145. But the fact is, it's tough to it's not often that he's down at that number like that, especially when they're playing as well as they've been playing. So there is something concerning going on. Buyer beware. Definitely pump the brakes. Take an extra look at this one and really decide if you want to bet on Ohtani when it's that I would say too good to be true. Obviously, got a big pill to swallow to bet against him when you've got Michael Grove, who hasn't been special at all this year, on the other side of things there. So something to look at, definitely something to be aware of. Last one up, and then we'll mostly get out of here. Padres and Giants is the last one up. As far as this series is gone, this Giants team has won the first 2, trying to get their win streak total because they are streaking right now. They've got 9 in a row. They've passed the Dodgers. They are 2.5 behind the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they are lurking in there in the top 4 in the NL altogether there, behind Atlanta and Miami as well there. So they can keep rolling. They're obviously going to overtake Arizona. San Diego had been playing a lot better, 35-38 now. So dropping obviously these 2 to San Francisco obviously is not where you're looking for when you're trying to claw back. But as far as this pitching matchup go, you've got Darvish on the mound for the Padres, and you've got Ryan Walker on the other side for the Giants. Ryan Walker, 27-year-old in his first season in the MLB. This is probably going to be a bullpen start. It's been a couple days since we've seen Walker. It's only a couple days since we've seen him win an inning in the third, 3 hits, 1 run. It was a solo homer against these Dodgers on Monday, actually. So he's getting the go ahead. At least as of now, that could change with the bullpen start. But looking like a bullpen start for him there. Darvish coming off of 2 bad ones, 6 earned runs and 4 earned runs last 2 times out. So I am a guy that likes looking at a little bounce back for you, Darvish, from time to time. I'm a little nervous in this case, though, but I'm going to lean on you've got an underdog team in the Giants at home on a 9-game win streak. So I'll go ahead and say this is where the line stops. San Diego has some sense of urgency trying to win a game against a division rival while they're trying to climb back. It's the last one of this series. I'm sorry, there's another game in this series tomorrow. But either way, Padres still have a chance to even the series if they get these last two. I'm going to go with a really heated performance from Yu Darvish trying to get this thing done. I believe the opening number was San Diego minus 145 even. So it has come down. I think that's still a fine spot to try and tackle Yu Darvish and the Padres here. Obviously, if you don't want to get in front of this train, that's the Giants. I absolutely understand it. Maybe you like the first five better. It is minus 125, or if you're looking for plus money, you got to bite the bullet and go the minus a half. But I think you're going to see a good Yu Darvish tonight. Obviously, what you're going to see out of the Giants pitching staff against this Padres offense, it obviously is a question mark there. But I will go with a good Yu Darvish start tonight. Do 6-7 innings, and I'll lean on a Padres victory, but certainly feel better about a first five victory there. If I'm talking correctly about Yu Darvish here. So that about does it, my friends. 7 games down. This Houston and Mets game, 9-8 right now. If you can get in front of it, has obviously been crazy. Mets just put up 2 in the where are we at here? Top of the 6th, an inning ago. So that one's coming down to it and is looking like a good finish in the top of the 7th inning there. So next one up is not until not for another hour and a half or so. So you got plenty of time to get ready and get lathered up there. So without further ado, stop by in an hour for Jeff Dawson and Brady Cannon talking all things Travelers Championship and the PGA. Probably recapping a little U.S. Open from their conversation last week. But aside from that, thank you all for stopping by again. We'll go ahead and get out of here. I will plan on being here tomorrow for the closing bell as well. But obviously stay tuned as well. Thanks for Connor for stopping by and commenting. As always, hope everyone has a great night and has some good luck on their hands on the MLB slate or whatever the heck else you may find yourself getting into tonight. So I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all later.